Day 2 of my first international solo trip to Edinburgh, Scotland. We've got a jam-packed itinerary for us today, so let's get right into it. I started off my day by heading to Cockburn Street and grabbing coffee at none other than the Milkman. I've seen this iconic coffee shop on Pinterest and TikTok for the longest time, and I was so excited to finally see it in person and try it out for myself. If there's one thing about me, I love a cozy coffee shop, and this spot was literally the definition of that. And oh my gosh, these pastries, it was so hard to pick just one. I ended up getting an iced latte with honey, and I can't remember what the pastry was called, but they were both so good. It ended up being one of the best lattes I would have all trip. This spot did not disappoint. After coffee, I did some shopping. There were so many cute stores here. I really loved Eden and Armstrong's Vintage. There was even a shop that had all kinds of Taylor Swift merch. I then headed over to the Royal Mile to shop some more. Here I'd say is where you'll find more of the typical touristy shops. After exploring around and securing some obligatory fridge magnet souvenirs, I stopped into nearby Ikigai Ramen for lunch. I heard lots of good things about this spot. I got the chicken tori and it was delicious. Perfect meal to warm me up on a chilly day in Edinburgh. Next stop on the itinerary was Greyfriars Kirkyard. It's one of the most famous graveyards in the world. Here you'll come to learn about Greyfriars Bobby. It's the sweetest story of a dog who back in the 19th century Edinburgh guarded the grave of his owner for 14 years until his death. There's a statue of Bobby where you can rub his nose like the good and loyal boy he is. And if you're not choking back tears yet, just wait till you see the pile of sticks laid by Bobby's grave. And if you're a Harry Potter fan, this graveyard is also believed to have heavily inspired the names of some of J.K. Rowling's most famous characters. Does a certain Thomas Riddle sound familiar? After the cemetery, it was sweet treat o'clock, so I made my way over to Kilted Donut. The spot also came highly recommended for their delicious donuts. I had the French toast one and it was so good. To burn it off, I then headed just around the corner to Vennel Viewpoint. At the top of this staircase, you'll find a beautiful view of the Edinburgh Castle. I then made my way over to the iconic Victoria Street. The street is also said to have inspired Harry Potter's Diagon Alley. They did have a quote-unquote Harry Potter museum here that I didn't get a chance to go into, but I hear is a fun experience. I did, however, stop into this one shop called the Red Door Gallery, which had so many fun and unique art prints, jewelry, postcards, stationery, you name it. Probably spent most of my money here. I highly recommend checking it out. We have seen a lot so far, but there's still just a couple spots left on my itinerary. It was back to the Royal Mile where I came upon Edinburgh's most iconic Gothic church, now known simply as the Hub. Literally so beautiful. The architecture in this city continuously leaves me speechless. Also, all throughout the city, they had bagpipe players serenading you as you walk the streets. The level of breathwork it takes to play these instruments is crazy, and it was so cool to watch them. One of the last spots on my itinerary for the day was Edinburgh College, specifically to get this insane view of the Hub. Like, are you kidding me? Absolutely stunning. It was starting to get into the evening at this point, so I began to make my way back to my hotel, but not without stopping by the Princes Street Gardens again to grab some hot chocolate, take in the golden hour views of the city and the Scott Monument. After freshening up back at my hotel, I set out for dinner. I ate at Baba, which is a Mediterranean tapas-style restaurant. I got the marinated chicken thigh and cauliflower fritters, and it was probably one of my most favorite meals of the entire trip. So good and flavorful, definitely a 10 out of 10. And after dinner, I was exhausted, so I decided to call it a night and rest up for another day of exploring tomorrow. Stay tuned for day 3.